Hello guys and welcome to another weekly What I Watched. Yes, I'm aware it's Thursday. I'm recording this really late, hoping to get it up this week. I'll not waffle, let's just kick on with what I have watched. So the last one I spoke about I think was Blood Red Sky. I remember touching on human animals. So if you're wondering today, yes, this is how I feel most days. It's the Grouch from Sesame Street. You gotta love a bit of Sesame Street. So the couple of evenings later, right, I watched this over the course of several nights. I did talk about this last time. This is a drama based on a true crime story of, I'm gonna have to look because it's been a while, Luis Andres Colmenares, young lad that was killed on Halloween night. And this goes into, was he killed? Did he have an accident? Who's responsible? And it gets into sort of like the politics of the country and if you've got money, who's telling the truth. It's a bit of like a whodunit, but it's a real life story. I really enjoyed it. I thought the performances were all excellent. The people look so similar to the real people. I looked up all the photographs from the actual real people. They did a really good job with it. I really enjoyed it. Personally, I would have preferred to see a documentary, just because that's me and I like that sort of thing. But Crime Diaries Night Out is on Netflix at the moment and I do thoroughly recommend. I thought it was very good for non-true crime fans and true crime fans alike. I think you'll get a decent watch from that one. On the same evening, right, there's 3 movies this day. I went to the cinema this evening. I won't waffle too long about this because I have a review up for this one. I know I don't do individual reviews very often, but when I go to the cinema, most of the time I like to bring you with me unless it's something we're bringing my son to. This, I took you with me. I'm in the minority. I love this movie. I thought it was awesome. It's probably my 3rd favourite Shyamalan movie. The only ones I really don't like by Shyamalan are The Happening and The Last Airbender. I always forget The Last Airbender. Last Airbender. I always forget it's Shyamalan because it's bloody awful. But the rest, even Lady in the Water, I like, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'll not sit and go into all the ins and outs of why. I'll link my review below if you want to see it. Man of Movies, I watched his review of this today and he loved it too. He did see it had its errors. I completely respect everything he was saying, where he was coming from, but I'm just really glad to see a few people really digging this like me. He really enjoyed that too. On that note, I just want to add something really exciting in here. In the future at some stage, not sure exactly 100% of when because I want to not say anything in case we don't have that date, but I'm going to be on a live stream with the Cinema Squad and I'm just like so excited you cannot even imagine. Man of Movies is on there. Sean from Lost in the Reel, I mean I love Sean, I think Sean's amazing. To be able to do a live stream with him is just awesome. There's a lot of other people on there. But in different streams, different members are sometimes there and sometimes not, so I don't want to say who's going to be on there. But when I know for sure, I will do a video, so you guys can check it out. I watched their last, I don't often get a chance to watch live streams because of the difference in the UK and the US, and they do tend to do them to US time. But I caught this one because I went to bed early that night, yes, boring, and I switched on the TV and there it was, and I thought, oh, this will be a nice little thing to watch. Brilliant. So funny. Just awesome. I have live streamed in the past, as anybody that's been with my channel for quite a long time will know. When I used to do solely movie reviews, I have done live streams in the past and they're a lot of fun and I'm so excited I can't even tell you. So yeah, look out for that. I will let you know when it's happening. So that was Old. On the same evening I watched Rock, Paper, Scissors. Now this was recommended by Emma from Spooky Astronaut's channel. I'm not sure if she recommended it or she just mentioned it, so I shouldn't say recommended. I thought this was bloody awful. Let me remind myself. Jesus and Maria Jose live together in the grand house that belonged to their recently deceased father. Their playful routine is disrupted when Magdalena, their half-sister on their dad's side, returns from Spain asking for her share of the inheritance. What are they going to do? Right, I tell you why that doesn't ring a bell, because it's not the bloody film that I watched. Right, let's take that out of there, because that's not right. Lisa, honestly, do you not check these things? Right, the Rock, Paper, Scissors, that must be the one she was talking about. I ended up watching a movie that was about high school kids playing a tournament of rock, paper, scissors, and it was so bad. I had to switch it off. Let me see if I can find it on here now. Okay, it was at this stage that Lisa realised she had logged the wrong rock, paper, scissors and could not understand why she wasn't remembering the blurb because she hadn't seen the film. So the rock, paper, scissors that I ended up watching is this one, and I think I've watched the wrong one. So a ragtag group of teens band together to compete in the World Championship of Rock, Paper, Scissors. This was so bad. So my voice is going. so bad. I couldn't watch all of it. I ended up switching it off. It's just nothing. I just can't be doing. I just thought it was all right. Hang on. This, I am not the demographic for this. Maybe if I was a teenager, I might have enjoyed this, but my teenage days are long gone. I didn't get anything from it. I thought it tried so hard to be so many different things and failed miserably overall at all of them. So Lisa will try and actually watch the rock, paper, scissors that was recommended to her rather than that for next week. So on the following evening, or day should I say, I went to the cinema with a group of kids to see The Croods 2. Now, I loved the first Croods. I took my son and 3 of his friends to see this, so it was a bit of a noisy time, shall we say, which is why I didn't tech you. I loved it. I love animation. This was just really endearing. I love most animation. Some people can be really choosy about what they like and what they don't, and that they sort of appreciate the Toy Stories and the Cocos of the world, and then maybe not so much the lesser ones. Like, people hate what's the one with the Transylvanian family? I can't remember what it's called. I love those movies. I think they're a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this, but is that a good endorsement for the movie? Maybe not, because it's coming from me and I just tend to love animation. I give this one a 3 out of 5. Thoroughly enjoyed it as much as the first. Would recommend. If you've got kids, definitely. All the kids that I took loved this one. So, same day in the evening. Okay, so this is, you'll recognise the title of this right away. This is a short documentary, 49 minutes, and this is about the infamous, one of the first school shootings, if not the first that ever happened. A documentary about the killing spree of Brenda Spencer, a 16-year-old schoolgirl who opened fire on a school playground in 1979, killing 2 men and injuring 8 children. Her only explanation of the above was, "I don't like Mondays." That's where the famous Boomtown Rats song comes from. This tells the story of what happened. We see Brenda in later life, how she is now. We see a court appearance by her, think maybe looking at parole. Quite interesting. Not as in-depth as I would like to have seen. Obviously with that short runtime it's not going to be, but I give it a 2.5. It was interesting because I'm interested in the subject, but it wasn't deep enough for me. That's what she said. So on the 31st I watched Jungle Cruise. My son is a massive fan of The Rock. I like The Rock as well. I do think, now, all joking aside, I was going to say he's very easy on the old eyeballs, which he is. Completely the opposite of the look I tend to go for, with loads of hair. But anyway, I think The Rock's really good. His sort of crossover from the sporting world of wrestling into acting, I think he's really good. And it doesn't hurt that he's a really nice guy. He's just a lovely person. So you're rooting for him, you want him to do well. So this obviously is The Rock and Emily Blunt and Jack Whitehall, UK comedian, if you don't know, who I really don't like. I don't find the guy funny. I find him really tiresome, and I was like, oh no, he's going to spoil this movie. Couldn't have been more wrong. He was excellent. He plays Emily Blunt's brother. This is a story about Emily Blunt and her brother. He's with her as support mainly. She is looking to find this magical tree whose blossoms sort of grant healing power. This has been searched for many years. The Rock plays the skipper of a jungle cruise boat that goes up and down that area. He gets roped into helping her find this. I don't want to stay very light here. I don't want to tell you too much. And everything ensues. We've got bits of The Mummy. We've got bits of Indiana Jones. We've got bits of Jumanji. We've got a sort of mismatch. It's one of those sort of typical family adventure movies. And yes, it steals a lot from different movies. I won't deny that for a second. And no, there isn't really anything new here. But because I love all the, well, not say I didn't love Jack Whitehall, but in this movie I did. There is the inclusion of a CGI character a lot of people have complained about. I quite liked it personally. The villain in this, right, I'm not good with names. Jesse Plemons, who plays Prince Joachim, is that? Let's not try and pronounce it again. I just thought he didn't need to be in there. There was no need for him. He was just inserted, and it could just as well have happened the whole movie without the need for him ever being there. Didn't think he added anything to the movie. The scenes he was in, I just wanted to end faster so we could get back to the other story. But I would thoroughly recommend this to families. It's a good sort of Saturday afternoon movie. My son loved it. My husband didn't complain about it, so he must have liked it. I enjoyed it. So yeah, Jungle Cruise, I gave it 3.5 out of 5. And we're on to August, folks. Okay, and purely because it's there, although I think that might have been Monday of this week, so I'll be talking about this next week. Another round with Mads Mikkelsen. Absolutely loved it. Very basic premise. A group of school teachers decide to drink alcohol every single day to have a certain level of inebriation where it's been discussed, or scientists have said that it opens up all kinds of channels of, I don't know, like inspiration. It will make you a better teacher. And these set of friends, teachers, decide that that's what they're going to do. And I think this is based on a stage play. I will look into it more so I can tell you more about it next week. Right, so that is what I have watched this week, folks. With that, I've also, let's say, I've watched some stuff that I can't put down there. The new season of Slasher is out on Netflix, so I'm halfway through that, season 3. Really pleasantly surprised so far, really enjoying it. Quite gory, this one. So just satisfies my gory little heart somewhat. Also, I finished, now this is not going to appeal to any of you people watching this, and I normally do not like this kind of thing, but a couple of years or maybe a year or so ago, I don't know, this series came out on Netflix called Love is Blind, and the concept was that these couples could not see one another. They had to get to know one another through booths where they spoke, so they only heard one another's voices, and everyone sort of like switched and got to know different people. And at the end of it, some of the people actually did make a go of it and got married. And it was I thought it was a really interesting concept of falling in love with having never set eyes upon that person. Now, myself and my husband met online, and we very much had very deep feelings for one another before we ever actually met in real life. So people find that odd, find that weird, and say that you can't have. And this program was a bit of an experiment, and what's come on Netflix recently is the update. We're 2 years down the line. Some of the couples are still together and very happily married. There was a lot of scandal and stuff went on at the time that comes up. I just find the psychology of human behaviour so interesting. I'm not a fan of like the Love Island type shows, but I loved Big Brother when it was on. I absolutely loved that, until it got really stereotypical in that every single person in the house had to be very similar. It was full of models. At the beginning, it was more of a cross-section of people. If you ever watched Big Brother UK, my favourite contestant ever was a guy called Dan. Really tall, skinny, bald guy. Absolutely loved him. He was in one of the really first early on Big Brothers, and where he's disappeared to, I have no idea, but I loved him. Anyway, I'm waffling. I do waffle. Thank you for watching, guys. Recommendations below of anything that you think I should check out. I have such a watch list at the minute. At the minute, right on the top is one called 9 Days that has been recommended by Sean from Lost in the Reel. I will be back next week with another version of what I've watched. I will let you know when I know anything more concrete about the stream, and if I go to see anything in the cinema in the near future. Maybe Suicide Squad, although I know my husband really wants to see that one, and it's hard for us to get to the cinema with having Isaac, obviously. But if I do get to see it, I will take you with me. Please God, it's better than the first one. Oh, it can't be worse. So thanks for watching, guys. I shall check in with you next week. Overnight from Lisa Lives.